Brian Wong, and you're watching Webbeat TV.
Brian, well, thank you so much for talking with me today. I'm excited to see you and Skype with you.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad. I'm always happy to share everything that we're up to, so it's always a lot of fun.
So let's go right into it. Let's talk a little bit about Kiip. Everybody loves mobile games. I mean, whether you go on a plane or on a train, you see people playing Angry Birds all the time. So you are really looking at mobile advertising on games in a different way, right, with Kiip?
Yeah, absolutely. Kiip is right now, sort of shifting away from the usual mindset that advertising has had around taking a piece of your screen. Essentially, in the past, it's always been, hey, let's carve out the bottom piece and the top piece and annoy you. And
like a banner ad.
Like when you're playing a game, who actually wants to tap on those things on purpose?
Right.
And so, when we were thinking about it, we realized that when you play a game, there are natural moments where pauses, essentially, when you're leveling up or hitting an achievement or getting a top score. And that moment also happens to be when you're happy, when you feel like you've accomplished something, and it means a lot. And so we decided to take that moment and realize that we could do something with it. Now, exactly what? We realized that to make it truly worth something, it would be to reward with a real reward. And so what we're doing in one line is real rewards for virtual achievements.
So real
when
life
you level up,
rewards.
You could get a free latte. You could get a free vitamin water. We just wanted to make that moment worth something.
So can you give a real example? Say you're playing Angry Birds and you get to the next level. Then what would you see on your screen, and how would you actually get that product or whatever it is?
Yeah, so you would get a real reward. And what we're doing is we're actually using a interesting sort of serendipitous and expected model. So it's not exactly like, you hit level 12 and you get this, right? It's more, and I'm just loading this actually up right now, it's not like you could just find out exactly how to get it. It's rather, we wanted to preserve the original behavior, right?
Okay.
We wanted the behavior of playing that game, the beauty of it all, rather than making the reward the focus.
Right.
So right now, how it looks is essentially, when you hit an achievement, you can, there looks your faces there too, but you basically get a notification, and in order to redeem it, you tap the notification, and you're able to put in your email address to redeem the reward.
Cool.
And so we wanted to keep it as frictionless as possible. Essentially, rather than kicking you out of the game, it's all an overlay, and you get an email later on with your redemption information. And so you can continue playing the game comfortably knowing that the redemption is sitting in your inbox.
That's nice. So it's not super predictable. So it's not like people just rush through the game just to get the rewards.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So where exactly are you now with Kiip? Can people already get rewards for playing games like Angry Birds? And what games can they play? Where can they find it?
Yeah, you can get rewards. We are working our asses off to get ourselves into as many games as possible. And part of this as well is making sure that when we do announce these games, which we haven't, by the way, because of one very specific reason. It's exactly why we have the serendipitous model in the first place as well, is we didn't want people to play the game just for getting the reward. First of all, that's respecting the game developer themselves and saying, hey, your game is actually worth playing and not just for a vitamin water. And also sort of making sure that when we do announce it, we have enough mass that a lot of our advertisers can understand exactly where the value proposition lies as well. So there's a combination of many things. But right now we are in, about 15 titles, and we're getting a lot of traffic, and we're getting a lot of people redeeming things. And right now we're just continuing to build on the model, and you'll see a lot of very exciting announcements from us over the next few weeks.
Awesome. Talk a little bit about you, because I think it's super impressive what you have done so far. I mean, you barely graduated, and you have, did you even graduate? I don't even know if you did.
Yeah, actually graduated 4 years early. I skipped 2 grades in elementary school and 2 grades in high school.
So you're very smart. That's what you're saying. So, well, how did you do that? And the second part of the question is, what would your advice be for young web entrepreneurs?
I think a lot of the younger entrepreneurs right now get a little bit of a bad rap for being very schizophrenic, very sort of we don't follow through per se. There's a lot of things that we're spread out thin working on. But I think school is like another project. You know, why not finish it? That's a big thing for me. And then so you know I would say for me as well, like when I ended up going through, I was very lucky that I ended up finishing it early. But all I wanted to do was have the freedom. And by the way, me starting Kiip wasn't actually something that people knew me 4 or 5 years ago wouldn't have said, Brian wants to move down to Silicon Valley, raise money, and start a company. That didn't happen. It was rather I randomly managed to be lucky enough to have the opportunity to move down to work at Dig. I was there for a very brief period of time, as you know, because the company started to go through a little bit of a rocky stage.
But you developed some great things while you were there.
I was very lucky. 5 months sometimes can actually be a long time, and at that point as well. And then I got laid off, and it's very difficult to at the age of 19 to all of a sudden have the umbilical cord get cut. But at that point, rather than mulling around and being down on myself, I said, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I am down here by myself. My parents are back up in Canada. I didn't really have a lot of money left in my personal bank account. I was just like, I have probably about a month left. I'm going to give it all I got. And Kiip was something that I actually didn't come up with while I was at Dig. I came up with while I was traveling, which is why I love traveling so much.
Yeah.
I get a lot of my inspiration from that. And long story short, all that came together, and it was really just a game of perseverance and finding if one guy doesn't believe in you, go to the next guy. It's a lot of people that that you will never know until you go and ask is really the biggest thing. And so that's sort of a great segue into sort of what I would if I am even qualified to share some tidbits to other young entrepreneurs. Listen, it's like you are the most powerful force in your life. Nobody is going to ask you for you to ask someone for help. It's you got to ask yourself. And then if you don't get it, go find someone else to help you. And then and the thing is, your perseverance is the number one most important thing as you're starting off, because otherwise no one else is going to believe in you unless you believe in yourself the most. So that's the biggest thing. And then on top of all that, I like to sort of use the phrase generating serendipity, where a lot of people will go, well, people get lucky and all that. And you're like, well, how come people get lucky all the time? Well, I think it's because they create their own luck, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's because they find environments that help them be the most successful, where it's most conducive to their success. To me, when I was back in Canada, again, not to rap on it, but my whole lingo thing about the web and everything I wanted to create, not a lot of people would truly understand what I'm trying to do. But when I came down here, every single person that I was able to share what my vision was to understood it. It made sense. They knew how to help, right? So it's all about finding that right environment. And so it's very important to be able to create that environment around you, especially. Have mentors, have people that care about you. Work with them, share with them what you're thinking so that they can tell you whether or not you're off your knockers or you actually have a good idea.
That's some great advice. I love that. Thank you so much for talking with me. I had a great time and I learned a lot. So it's awesome to be learning from these new young entrepreneurs. So the last thing that I would like for you to do is to say goodbye with me in Dutch, which is doei. If we could end the show like that, you're going to make me one very happy girl.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Pelpina. Doei!
Yes, that was a good doei. You sounded Dutch.
I am not Dutch.